from a biology perspective on every program that we did. So I think we should probably not take this accusation that our biology is bad without, as companies in India, without pushing back adequately. I think, again, if you take the vaccine business, I think look at the number of incredibly successful Indian vaccine companies. This could not have happened unless we can do good biology. I think we should push back when it comes to that. What we should accept is certainly that we don't have access to new biology. There's no question about that. We don't have access to risk capital that will allow us to push the envelope in biology, nor do we have the institutions that actually can support that as much as in the West. But I certainly think it's not as bad as sometimes it is made out to be.
We're talking, but we're not talking about the revenue deal size. In the local market, see a normal work which is being done, what is the amount which they get paid, vis-a-vis the same thing is done locally in India. What would be the amount which they would have paid to an Indian CRO? I think the drugs cost, it's 7 times higher in China as compared to what it is in India, in the local market. So when I compare 100 billion versus 36 billion, I also have to take into account that the cost price is way different. The selling price is way different. But still, as rightly pointed out, Mr. Murthy, we are really doing amazing biology. It's just the access to the new biology. Okay, now I would also like to add one more point, because since we are talking about collaborations and innovations, and the government has been pushing a lot of thrust on the NIPER institutes which are coming up, mushrooming across the country. 6 are already there and they're planning another 3 or 4 in the next coming 2 years. My question is, they are GLP certified laboratories. They can be a GMP certified laboratories as well. What are your thoughts? Do you think them to be a collaborator in the next future 5 years, assisting CROs, or do you think they also to be a threat? So I would like to have your views. What are your thoughts, because with all of these developments happening, where do you see? Is it an opportunity for a CRO, or do you think it's a threat for the CRO?
I don't see it as a threat at all. I think it's going to build a pipeline into CROs and create job opportunities for people coming out of NIPERs. So I don't see it as a threat at all.
Do you think there's a collaboration? Can the CRO?
Yeah, one example is here. There's the Institute of Life Sciences right here in Hyderabad, which you can put at the level of NIPER or even higher actually. Some really good scientists, they've done some innovative work, they've spun off some businesses out of that particular institute. So I think there's work going on, we are working with them. So I think if there's value, we'll certainly work with them, but I don't see them as competitors. So.
I have a question. My question, when one of the panelists in the beginning told that most of our business comes from the bigger multinationals from outside, companies from outside, where you are engaged in early phase development, maybe the preclinicals or a little bit into a proof of concept kind of studies. But if you look at the Indian market, how many new molecules have come out of the Indian manufacturer themselves to the clinical stage? Meager. So, in this kind of a scenario, how do you expect a business going to you from Indian manufacturers? Number one. Number two, from vaccines perspective, there's a clear mandate in the whole of the vaccine and infectious disease world that there is a need for, say, a conjugate typhoid vaccine. One. There is concern about the MenB, the meningococcus type B. Well, what you have today is ACY. B is a problem. A lot of universities working on it. There is, I'll give you one small example where this partnership between a CRO, university and institutes have actually fruitfully delivered new vaccine candidates. Probably many of you will be aware of, there's a phase 1 study going on in Brazil from Sabin Institute for hookworm. NAGTS1 is a candidate which got developed by collaboration of the Brazil Health Ministry, Peter Hotte's team at Sabin Institute, PPD and Covance at Pennsylvania. So this cluster made it possible for development of a vaccine which was really failed for the developing world. I do not see any of the panelists here talking about anything to do with vaccines. People come to us, to my team, to talk about developments, what we can do for you. So what ultimately goes is, what you can do for us is data management, finding out a couple of sites, data entry, writing a report, giving it back to us. Probably that's it. They say we give you end-to-end service or something like that. But if you ask any of the CROs, have you ever done a vaccine study? What is your experience in vaccine study? I mean, I'll take one of the cue from our friends. Except for Quintiles, PPD, and maybe Kendall and all that, most of them do not have any experience in vaccine study. Is it something vaccine that you are deliberately trying to, push away from you? I mean, we should not get into vaccines, infectious disease. Or you are strong in chemistry, so you want to, close your ears and eyes just doing early development chemistry. It's an open, firm question.
Like medicines for malaria, drugs for neglected diseases, Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation actually has selected GVK Bio as the only clinical CRO out of India to do some of their studies. They've picked 6 CROs globally, including Quintiles, but out of India, only GVK Bio has been selected to do vaccine studies. So we do a lot of vaccine studies, clinical studies. Now, your question was two-phase. One was, why don't, how many new molecules have come out of India, and why don't they work with companies like us? I think there's two reasons for it. Because many of these companies were generic companies. They decided to get into R&D on their own. They feel that they can hire the same kind of chemist we can hire, and why would we work with a CRO and give them, an additional cost on top of it? So they think they can do it. But I think they should think twice, because all 3 of us on this panel actually work with multinationals, work with global pharma companies, work with biotech companies that put us under tremendous pressure to deliver molecules. I can proudly say that we have delivered an IND candidate for a big pharma company very recently. Now, we could have probably done it for an Indian company if they had come to us, rather than having this approach of, well, we could do it just as well as them. Because we do get trained differently, because we have to work with some of the best in the world, which perhaps doesn't happen within these companies. Coming to vaccine discovery, GVK Bio has stayed out of vaccine discovery. It's doing clinical work for vaccines, but we have stayed out of vaccine discovery because strength is in chemistry. So we are discovering more and working in the small molecule area right now, in the discovery area.
Reflecting back on the vaccine area, which is one of your questions, I think, as you know, this basic domain is so vast and so deep that you can't really do everything. You have to get specialized. So I think a company that's focused on vaccines should be focused on vaccines. It just so happens these companies are not. But what we do is, because we have strength in chemistry, peptides are involved with vaccines. So we also, just like Mani said, we have worked with IAVI, this is the HIV vaccine organization, MMV, etc. So we've tried to help from within our domains, but we really, all 3 of us can't profess to really know and have a depth of knowledge in discovery of vaccines. So I think there should be other companies. I'm not aware, but I'm sure there are some that there are pockets of competence there somewhere. In terms of bringing new molecules to the market, it is a sense of shame for us, being a country of 1.2 billion people who have yet to contribute a single ethical drug in the market. Although now I see that there are a few that may do it in the next 5 years or thereabouts. But again, I would like to say that there is a structural scenario which played into that kind of a lack of success rate. We have been incredibly innovative in generics because there was an opportunity for us to participate in that sector and build large businesses. In terms of new drug discovery, the patent law for